Welcome to another episode of Cat Chats. Today is one like no other. Obviously by the title of this video, you guys know I'm gonna be talking about my first clubbing experience. I recently went to Las Vegas, which a lot of you know, and we went to the club. Before I get into this video, I want to address my shirt. My friend Gabby got me this shirt. It's amazing. Hello. This one. That's my favorite one. I would tell you where she got it, but I don't remember, and I also wouldn't recommend it because she said it had the worst customer service ever and the shipping took like a million years. Also, I am drinking matcha powder. That's like my new thing. Jessie got me into drinking this and it's like all I want to drink now. It gives me so much energy, way more than coffee. I am very, very PG on my channel. You guys know, like, I don't curse. I don't like to curse on my channel. I like to, you know, I don't like to do that. I just don't. But I will say I'm gonna have to say the F word a couple times in this video because Porter, not now. I am warning you. So no comment about it because I gave a warning. Also, this story is very unlike me. This whole, like, what I'm about to tell you is very unlike me. We did go to the club. Everybody got drunk. Like, it's something that happens. Alcohol is bad for you. And I know that. I know that alcohol is terribly bad for you. But I went to Vegas, okay? Viva Las Vegas. Honestly, though, this story really isn't about me. It's about Emilia. It's mainly surrounding Emilia. I had wanted to film this video earlier. I've been getting tweets every day. Where's the Vegas Cat Chats? But there was just always something in the way. The first time I tried to film this video, I was in like a crazy thunderstorm. My power went out. I couldn't film. The second time, I had 50 Cent's Candy Shop song like in my head all day that I couldn't even concentrate. I got Emilia's permission to tell this story, so let's go. So I was recently in Las Vegas and there was a ton of beauty bloggers, there's hair everywhere, that were in Vegas the same time I was. I was technically there for a benefit reveal, like Benefit revealed their new bra products, yada yada yada. They flew out a bunch of bloggers, but we were actually already going for Danny's birthday. It was just lucky. I left on a Tuesday and I returned on a Tuesday, so I was there 7 days. It was me, Danny, and his friend Danilo. We flew to Vegas, and then Jessie, which if you don't know Jessie, you should know Jessie. I will link her channel down below. Jessie Smiles, you know her. She drove up with her friend Rachel and they met us in Vegas on Tuesday night, which Rachel also has a channel. I will link her down below. I will link everybody who I talk about in this video who has a channel down below. The only other person is my sister, but I'll link them all below. So Tuesday night, it was me, Danny, Danilo, Jessie, and Rachel. And then the rest of our group wasn't coming in until Thursday night, which was Danilo's lady friend, Gina, Emilia, Mondo, Melissa, my sister, and her husband. So at one point, there was 11 of us on this Vegas trip. I don't do clubs. I don't really like clubbing. I've never been to one before this, but clubs in Miami, you just hear the worst things. Danny didn't want to go to the club either, but we were surprisingly convinced and we decided to go to the Marquee on Friday night. The Marquee is a club at the Cosmopolitan. By the way, I was staying at the Cosmopolitan Hotel, and being the scaredy cat that I am, I said if I was gonna go to a club, it was gonna be the one at my hotel, which turned out to be the Marquee. So we got VIP for the Marquee because, you know, I don't like crowds. So I wanted to, you know, make sure I was like in my own little area. So on Friday night before we went to Marquee, we went to this place called Beauty in Essex. It's like a restaurant slash bar. We decided to do that first because all the benefit people were there and we wanted to hang out with like the benefit people. They let me bring all my friends, all 11 of us. And we all started to hang out at that restaurant. But none of us realized that the last time we had eaten was like breakfast time. None of us really had food. So when we show up to this Beauty in Essex place, all they're giving is like little appetizers that they're like walking around with, and we're like trying to make the best out of the situation. We're just like eating all of them because we were so hungry and we knew that we were gonna go to a club and then, you know, drink. So we wanted to make sure we were eating. And by the way, prior to this whole little thing, I had like 7 mimosas like at 10 o'clock in the morning. Not like back to back, it lasted throughout the day, but then I had a pineapple mint margarita after that. It was Vegas, I was day drinking. So we were at this Beauty in Essex place and everybody was drinking and having a good time. Well, I guess Emilia didn't really notice that she wasn't eating, but I wasn't paying attention. We leave and we go to Marquee and we do like the whole VIP thing. And it's all 11 of us in this little corner, and I've never been to a club before, but they put like a little cool rope and you're like by a couch. And then this girl walks over with like a giant bottle of Belvedere. When I tell you that it's the biggest alcohol bottle I've ever seen, I'm not kidding. It was like this big. Of this big, it doesn't even fit on my screen, it was like this big, of Belvedere, which is vodka. And then they came over with like another regular size Belvedere and they put it in the little ice thing, and they throw in some champagne. They put a whole big ass bottle of champagne, and I was like, okay, that's fine, that's 11 of us, that seems like a lot of alcohol, but whatever. I snapped a lot of the club experience. I downloaded my Snapchat to go over it again in this video with you guys. I'm not gonna go over the entire Snapchat because I think altogether it's like 10 minutes. But there are key points I want to highlight. So I was not feeling the music as soon as we get there. I don't really love house music. Is that what it's called? It's just not my thing. I know that people love house music. That's why they play it. But it's just not something I personally love. So I was like not really feeling it in the beginning. Actually, let me scoot over here because I'm gonna play some of my Snapchat stories here, and I'm not the best editor, so I don't really know how to like split the screen. So I'm just gonna move over so I don't have to really edit that much. I mean, I had a drink in my hand, so it was all good, and I was surrounded by friends, which is really the only thing I cared about. But the music, not my favorite. If anybody was wondering, I was drinking Belvedere with orange juice. I think that's called a screwdriver. Now, you guys don't really know my friends, but Melissa does not drink. Melissa never drinks. By the way, Melissa is the voice you guys heard in the No Mirror Makeup Challenge. She was like sitting there when I was talking to Melissa. That's Melissa. Now you guys know what she looks like. She does not drink. So she was just taking down the drinks, having the time of her life. Mondo is her boyfriend. Mondo and Danny have been best friends for like 25 years. Now things didn't start to get really crazy until the end of the night. And then I don't know at what time my sister decided like, oh yeah, I'm over this. And she got up and her and Robert left. She wasn't really drinking and she was really tired. She had just flown in that morning. So she was just like not up for it. She danced a little, but she was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm done with this. I'm out. And then the next one to leave was Rachel. But Rachel had like 1,000,000 drinks that day. She was like the biggest trooper ever. She had like so many drinks and she's a tiny, tiny little human. And she did not stumble or fall over or nothing. Not once. I think it was around like 1 in the morning where Rachel was like, you know what? I'm gonna go up to the room. I'm pretty drunk. And she just walked up to the room like an adult and went to sleep. Can't say the same for the rest of us. So at this point, it was 8 of us. Actually, from now on, I will refer to Mondo as Champagne Papi because that is the name he was calling himself the entire night. So after a while, the drinks really started to affect us and we were just having the time of our lives. All of a sudden, the music that we didn't think we liked, we were loving. We were singing all those songs. It got to a point where literally every single person that was there was pretty wasted. I mean, I was pretty drunk. I didn't really notice, but Emilia just kept drinking and drinking and drinking. There was no stopping the woman. And I don't know whose bright idea it was, but somebody decided that we all needed some Patron shots. Somebody ordered Patron shots. We all had Patron shots. But I did a little sneaky thing where I took half and then threw away the rest. Don't know who I hit when I threw it back. Probably somebody. But I got like half the shot, so I wasn't as wasted as everyone else. Now, I kind of worried about putting this part in the video, like talking about this part. But it's just so funny to me that I'm gonna tell you anyway. And I'm hoping you guys aren't judgmental. So I'm hoping you guys will just accept it. But Emilia doesn't really smoke cigarettes like every day, but when she drinks, she likes to have the occasional cigarette. Who am I to judge? Not my thing, but it's her thing, whatever. And I had no idea you could even smoke in a club. When I saw the first person light their cigarette, I'm like, oh my God, you can smoke in here? What is this place? So a little bit towards the end of the night, everybody's drunk, everybody's having a good time, and I noticed that Emilia, she just keeps taking shots. And she's taking shots with Gina, who we had just met. Turned out Gina's awesome. She was super cool, but she was just taking shots with Gina. I'm just dancing there, sipping on my drink, and I'm like, that's not gonna end well, but I just keep sipping on my drink. I knew that things got really bad when I turned and looked at Emilia, and she was smoking a cigarette backwards. Yes, completely backwards. She's like literally like the yellowy part was on the outside. Like she was smoking her cigarette backwards. And I'm pretty sure she was there like smoking it for like a good minute. Didn't even realize it. It was backwards. So for whatever reason, drunk Kathleen thought that was the funniest thing she had ever seen. Like I really thought that that was the funniest thing I had seen in months. I started to crack up all alone. I took the cigarette out of her mouth and I started to show it to everyone. I'm like, oh my God. Everybody doesn't care. They're like drunk having a good time and I'm like shoving a cigarette in their face. I'm like, look at this. Emilia was smoking this backwards. I thought it was so funny, and for the rest of the night, my mission was to protect that cigarette. Bring it home with me and keep it for the rest of my life as a souvenir because I thought it was that funny. So surprisingly enough, it was actually really hard to take care of that cigarette. One time it fell underneath the table where all the alcohol was. I had to crawl and like put my hand under the table. Another time it fell into like a puddle of vodka, which was probably half of my Patron shot, if I'm gonna be honest. Went like this to dry it off and I kept it and I put it in this. That's right. This is not the benefit give me brow. This is the box I kept it in. She was smoking this for a good minute before I stopped her, and I'm pretty sure that if I wouldn't have stopped her, she would have smoked the whole thing like this. I'm just gonna put this back in this box and keep it for the rest of my life and show Emilia's children what she did. Anyway, it got to a point where Emilia was just like super sloppy, kind of like falling over, and Melissa is like sitting her down, telling her to relax, just calm down, just stay seated, just be calm. And when Melissa is drunk, she's like very, how do I put this? Animated, like just be calm, sit there, be calm. And then Melissa whispers to me, which I don't think she said, but Melissa whispers to me, she's like, oh my God, she has to throw up, she has to throw up. So I'm drunk. I grab the champagne bottle, take it out of the ice bucket, take the Belvedere out of the ice bucket. I dump out the ice bucket like that, like a crazy woman. Blah, dump out the ice bucket and hand the bucket to Amelia. And when I do that, Melissa's like, are you crazy? She's not gonna throw up in a VIP. This is VIP, what are you doing? So Melissa gets up and she's like, I'm gonna take her to the bathroom because she's about to throw up. I gotta take her to the bathroom. I'm like, all right, be careful. And then I continue to dance. Me and Jesse having the time of our lives, partying it up. Danny was fist bumping. We were all fist bumping at one point. Awesome. All of a sudden, I don't know how long after they left, but all of a sudden, Melissa just starts charging to the VIP like this. Running like that. And she runs up to me and she's like, they took her! They took her! And she's like freaking out. I'm like, they took who? They took who? Actually, it was more like, they took who? She's like, Amelia, the security guard just took Amelia and left, and I don't know where the hell she went. So immediately I'm like, what? I turn around and I tell Jessie, I'm like, they took Amelia, the security guard took Amelia. Jessie sobered up in like 5.2 seconds. She's like, well then let's get out of here. We gotta go get Amelia. We turned around, we each grab our purses because it was like in this chest thing, which thank God for Gina because she grabbed Amelia's purse because everybody was so drunk that they really just grabbed their own purse. So we get her purse, I tell Danny, I'm like, they took Amelia, everybody, we don't know where Amelia is, let's go. We leave the VIP. At this point, I think it's like 3 in the morning. And according to Melissa, when she told me the story, they walked into the bathroom and if I'm gonna be honest, Amelia was like stumbling all over the place. The security guard probably saw her stumble into the bathroom like a crazy person and thought she was like on some sort of drugs, that they took her. So according to Melissa, they walked into the bathroom, they were with Gina. Gina completely skipped the line. Drunk people in the bathroom, that's never a good thing. And then Amelia goes into her stall and Melissa's like waiting outside. And then the security guard comes up to Melissa and is like, where is she? And as soon as Amelia walks out the thing, they just grab her and take her. So we run outside of the marquee and we see like this bouncer guy there. And Jesse's like, hey, we had a friend here and they took her. The security guard took her, I guess because she was too drunk and we don't know where she is. And this bouncer's like, yeah, I think they took her to the bridge. Mind you, the bridge is like, not that far, but we had to walk a little bit. So we start running to the bridge. We go outside. This is like outside of the hotel. We get to the bridge and we're like, and I don't see Amelia. I start freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, I'm in the hangover. Oh my God, this is happening. This is happening. And Jesse's like, oh my God, they didn't bring her to the bridge. That guy was crazy. So we run back and Danny starts talking to the guy. And he's like, listen, they just took my sister. I need to know where my sister is. Which if you are confused, by the way, that's actually how I met Danny. Amelia is my best friend from like 6th grade. And Danny was her stepbrother at a point in life. Amelia's dad and Danny's mom are no longer together, but they were at one point making them stepbrother and stepsister, and that's how I met Danny. So he's like, my sister, I need to find her. And then they're like, oh, okay, yeah, but just you know, follow me. Danny follows like some guy to like the back of the club. And then the rest of us are just like wandering around the hotel, like all freaking out. Danilo and Gina were like passed out in front of this Mexican restaurant that was right next to the marquee. Totally out, passed out on the couch. And Melissa's just like standing in front of me like, calm down, it's gonna be fine, calm down. Finally, Danny calls us and he's like, yeah, they're taking her to the hospital. I was like, what? Say that again? He's like, yep, I'm on an Uber right now, following her on the ambulance on the way to a hospital. So he just told us to go back to the hotel room and then he would call and we'd figure it out. Mondo was like freaking out and he's like, oh my God, poor Danny. Poor Danny. It didn't give a shit that Amelia was in the hospital. He's like, poor Danny. He was having such a good time. He was fist bumping. And now he's on his way to the hospital. So all of us go right upstairs to the hotel room. Our room was set up like, okay, so we had a living room and it had a living room and a kitchen and then it had like 2 master bedrooms connected to it. So Mondo and Melissa were staying in one master bedroom and then me and Danny were staying in the other one. And then everybody else just kind of like slept in the living room. Melissa runs into the bathroom to like throw up, I guess, and just gets like butt naked. Like, butt naked. I walk into the room not knowing she's like butt naked. I walk up to her. I'm so drunk that I don't even care that I see her entire ass. I'm like, hey, Melissa, you want to come hang out with us on the balcony? We're just all hanging out on the balcony. And she just looks at me and she's like, I'm so fucked up. And I'm like, oh, so like, are you not gonna go to the balcony or what? And she just kept repeating like, I'm so fucked up. So I was like, you know what? Maybe it's just best you just go to sleep. And then Gina gets up and she's like, I have to throw up. And she goes to walk into the bathroom and Melissa's like, I'm naked. And Gina's like, I don't care. Melissa walks right out of the bathroom, naked, in front of Gina, which we didn't know 48 hours prior to the strip. She was that drunk. She ended up just passing out, going to sleep. I ended up just passing out, going to sleep. And then the next morning when I wake up, Danny's next to me and I'm like, oh my gosh, where's Amelia? I'm like freaking out. I'm like, where's Amelia? He's like, well, they had to keep her overnight because they don't know her alcohol level. So they have to keep her, check her alcohol level, and then we'll see. 3 p.m. She did not come out of the hospital till 3 p.m. I don't even want to tell you guys what her alcohol level was. I don't even want to tell you. Amelia was wearing a black liquid lipstick the night before, and I promise you the next day when she walked into the hotel, she looked like she had been chewing on some charcoal for like 3 hours. It was like, and we were like, whoa, what's up, girl? How'd it go? I promise you, I thought that Amelia had just like walked in from like the most traumatic experience ever. She was like, dude. She said that she woke up in the hospital and there was a girl next to her, which I don't even know how she was that close to her, but there was a girl next to her, which I think she had to be on something a little bit more powerful than alcohol, because Amelia says that she was just like rambling and saying like crazy things. At one point, she was like reaching over to Amelia and she was like, don't die, don't die. Freaked her out. She kept asking security like, can we do something about this girl who's touching me? It was insane, but that's not where this story ends. I'm telling you, if there's one thing I learned about Vegas is that everything does happen for a reason. When Amelia got to Vegas, like she got there Thursday night, she had brought her passport, which if you travel in the United States, you don't need your passport to travel, you just need your passport to travel outside of the United States. So when she got there, I was like, why did you bring your passport? She's like, I don't know, just in case. Well, guess what? She gets back to the hotel, and I mean, we had all her stuff. Like we had her phone, her wallet, her ID, we had everything. And then Danny took it to the hospital when he went to go pick her up. She gave in her ID, she exchanged at the hospital, whatever, they discharged her, blah, blah, blah. When she gets back to the hotel and we're getting ready to like go to the Hoover Dam, she notices that her ID is missing. She goes back upstairs, she looks everywhere for her ID and it is nowhere to be found. She calls the hospital. The hospital tells her, oh, don't worry, come right in, we have your ID. Oh, whoa, thank gosh, right? No. She gets to the hospital and miraculously, they lost her ID. They had spoken to her on the phone like 20 minutes before she got there. And they lost her ID. It was nowhere. It wasn't in the lost and found. They had asked the nurse who called her and told her that they had it. That person didn't know where it was. Thank God that she brought her passport, because that is the only way she got back to Miami. She needed her ID for like so many things on the rest of the trip, and she was showing her passport like everywhere she went. And I was just like, man, the only person who brought their passport on the trip is the person who lost her ID. Isn't that insane? Finally ordered it when she got to Miami. 50 bucks. She had to pay 50 bucks to renew her ID because hers was about to expire anyway. But yeah, 50 bucks. That's what a wild night costs you. Actually, no, it costs you a lot more than that because you guys don't even want to know what her medical bill was. So yeah, that's pretty much what happened. Amelia got really wasted. She even got so wasted that she burned me. You can't tell. You can barely see it now because it happened like over a week ago, but it was like a huge burn mark. I wouldn't say huge because a cigarette hole is like literally this big, but it was the same exact perfect size as a cigarette. Burned the shit out of me. I caught a little glimpse of it. So yeah, that was my first clubbing experience. There was even a point where I was chugging champagne out of the bottle. I looked crazy, guys. I was like, Viva Las Vegas! Chugging champagne out of the bottle. There wasn't much comedy to my story, but I really was just telling you the story of how Amelia ended up in the hospital in Las Vegas. Moral of the story is don't drink if you haven't eaten. And if you are drinking if you haven't eaten, don't take 12 shots of Belvedere. But yeah, I had a great time. Thank you to everyone. I know I already said this in a previous video, but thank you to everyone who said such positive comments in my Instagram of how proud of me you were for just like doing things I don't normally do, like getting on an airplane and how my fear of flying. And I was even on a helicopter, which blew my mind. Thank you, because I feel like I was able to achieve those goals because of you guys being so positive and so uplifting. You guys gave me the courage to even book that trip. So thank you so much for your nice words. It means the world to me. Vegas is beautiful and I totally want to go again. I want to go again so bad, but we shall see. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave me a comment down below what your first club experience was, if it was a crazy one, or leave me any crazy club experience down below. Actually, I like that one more. Leave me a crazy club experience down below. I want to read them. I want to laugh. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video. Bye. Hey, whoa. Hey, whoa. Hello. All right, get out. Get out. Who's beeping? Oh, mailman. Son of a... Watch your step there. So you guys heard in the background of the Mirror Does My Makeup challenge. What? That did not make sense.